Bro, if you are struggling with social anxiety, one thing you get to realize is you would often reject yourself before people reject you. You would always look down on yourself when it comes to any form of social interaction, right? And guess what? It's damaging. It's damaging because if you get to realize that most of your life choices will be based on that social anxiety. For example, when it comes to choosing a career, you don't choose what you like. You will choose what suits your anxiety. You will choose what is okay to you based on how you feel at the moment. Now ask yourself, is that the life you want to actually live? Where you are living based on how you see yourself? Bro, I'm very sure you don't want to be there. I am 100% sure that you don't want to be that guy who grows up with money but still has that anxiety in him. But I know this for a fact because I was once there. But I have missed out on opportunities, right? When it comes to like to make money, to be with people, to meet amazing people, to even have amazing relationships. I have missed out on them simply because of I allowed the word anxiety to hold me. Now, one other lie you might be telling yourself is, oh, I don't think I have social anxiety. I'm just introverted. Bro, you really cannot call yourself introverted if you have never actually put yourself out there. It's not possible, right? Because until until you put yourself out there and you realize, okay, fine, I meet people, but I think I'm okay by myself. Then you can call yourself an introverted person, right? So I'll say for a fact that the hardest part when it comes to overcoming, which is where I'll start from. The hardest part when it comes to social anxiety, right, is the way you see yourself, is the way you talk to yourself. Because the default way you see yourself is how people will see you, right? If you're someone who's struggling to talk to girls, I always wonder, how do you talk to yourself first? Because if you're already rejecting yourself, how the fuck do you think women should accept you? How should women accept you if you're always talking down on yourself? So the way you see yourself, like I said, in any situation, influence and bro, and I need this because I come to realize because when during my final years of university, right, I come to realize I was onto some little self improvement, and I ran into this book or several books that has to do with your self image, and then at first I did not really get the concept because I would keep lying to myself and saying no, people are not really worth talking to, but as I began to get into like group projects, I came to realize that no, other human beings are not so complex. Other human beings have anxiety too, right? They have imperfections, they have insecurities, they have fears, they have failures, and ever since then, even with women, right? If you get this concept, if you truly get this concept, you get to realize that women are just human beings also. Like literally speaking, forget that society puts them on a pedestal. Forget the idea that you want to date them. They are literally just human beings now. And I'll tell you for a fact that if you have overcome this idea in your head, this self-story, because all of your failures and accomplishments will start with the story you tell yourself. After you have passed this stage, because this is the hardest stage, if you can stop telling yourself negative things about yourself, right? And start, at least just start with that. And start telling yourself, okay, you know what? Say things that make you confident because there's no way you can be confident while you still have negative self-talk. And if you want to know how to get rid of those thoughts, I made a video of that like in the past a couple of weeks ago. So after you've gotten rid of your words or negative self-talk, the next thing to do now is begin to expose yourself, right, to situations, right, that are comfortable and then begin to step up the game. Right? Expose yourself to more situations because here's the harsh truth. No matter how much you work on your self-image, if you're not out there exposing yourself to social interactions, you can never get rid of it. It's like trying to think your way into muscles. It's never going to work. So start with the simplest interactions, right? If you are someone who is still in college, start with talking to people who are in your same class. If you're at the gym already, start with talking to that guy who you are working out with or who you are sharing equipment with. It's that simple, right? And again, you get to realize that people are actually simple. It's your brain that is most likely overcomplicating this thing. Where and at some point, right, how you begin to increase it or begin to step up is you now begin to approach people cold approach. When you start with warm approach happens when you already have a context you're sharing the person with. For example, your office space, right? Your office space, start with talking to people. Yes, when you start, you'll be jittering at first. But the whole idea is the more you feel the anxiety, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And I remember when I was talking to people, right? When I'm talking to people without a mic, right? When I started talking to people in my university in front of the class, I was always comfortable. I was talking well. But the first day they gave me a microphone, oh my days, my anxiety went through the roof. Like literally speaking, my hands were shaking. Like I could feel my neck vibrating. Right? But guess what? I felt like that voice in my head that said, do it. Just do it. Just do it. And the more I spoke, the more I felt comfortable. And guess what? The next time I spoke, I felt more comfortable. So if you feel that anxiety, of course you would. That's why I said start with something easier. And before you know it, you begin to graduate into much more comfortable situations. Now, I'll tell you one the third tip I'll give to you here is become very comfortable with conversations. Become very comfortable. The key word here is comfortable. Then become very good at conversations. To become comfortable at conversations, your best tools are one, asking the right questions, and two, listening. And why this is very perfect is because when you're going through social anxiety or you're trying to like fix your social anxiety, you get to realize that it's because of what is going on in your head. And the more you fix the stories going on in your head, the better for you. Right? So when you're talking to people, when you're asking people questions, you are removing yourself, right? You're removing yourself from the from the spotlight and you're looking at the other person. What's even much more interesting is when you ask people questions, right? You listen and you give them follow-up questions. It makes them feel good about themselves. And that's why I made a video a few days ago talking about how to ask questions in a way that people get to like you more. And that's the secret. That's the secret to having good conversations. Asking people questions and making them talk about themselves more. The word is just curiosity I was looking for, right? You're curious about the other person, and that's what makes you interesting because when you're talking to people, right, and you're asking them questions about themselves, it kind of makes them feel good. And the irony is that the more you ask follow-up questions, the better the person feels good about the conversation. And guess what? It's like, have you ever been in a conversation where you left the conversation and you felt like, this person, right, is actually a very good person to talk to. Yeah, that's simply because they made you feel good about yourself, right? So if you're somebody who's trying to like overcome social anxiety, talking to people, asking them questions, bro, is a complete game changer, right? It makes you leave your head and be present with somebody else. And then I forgot to mention that as you're exposing yourself to new situations, one rule that helps me there was called the 5 second rule, where if I have this inkling to talk to people and the other voice in my head, right, comes up and says, bro, you aren't worthy enough or you might get rejected, I give myself 5 seconds. And that's the whole idea, right? Because this is harsh truth. You have 5 seconds within your brain wanting to talk to somebody and your brain stopping you, right? And I think that came from a book called the 5 second rule book where I got to realize that your brain knows tricks to play on you. So what that means is if you don't physically move within 5 seconds of that thought of talking to that girl or talking to that guy, trust me, your brain will completely shut you off, right? So for a fact is as you make this move to go and talk to new people, if the idea comes to your head to talk to that girl, you have 5 seconds. So guess what? That's why I told you to start with something that makes you comfortable, right? Start with comfortable environment. Then before you begin to code the approach, the easy thing there is that it becomes easier the more you do it. The most difficult part starts with you changing your mindset first. Then you exposing yourself to other people and then exposing yourself to difficult situations. But the irony is the hardest part is the way you talk to yourself. Think about it. You get rejected, maybe a few, and the irony is actually, right, if you use this approach of which I use, you will get rejected less and you feel bad less. So instead of you just going out and talking to random people, cold approaching, start with warm approaching people, right? Approach people that you are already comfortable with. Another tip I'll give to you here is if you have any way to calm your mind, to relax your mind, it's a complete game changer also. Because my social anxiety was fixed when I started going to the gym, right? When I started talking to people because they were in the gym. And one thing I realized is that's the same time I started meditating. I would close my eyes, sit down, and just be relaxed. And I noticed that I could also relax like that when I'm talking to people, where I'm quieting the voice in my head and I'm being present at the moment. So, bro, if you have any way to relax, even music can help you relax, right? I also noticed that exercise does actually make me relax. When I go for like a good cardio, it becomes very easy to talk to people, right? My heartbeat is like not racing anymore. The last tip I'll give to you here is, which is a very, very interesting tip is, bro, work on yourself, right? If you're trying to fix your social anxiety, working on yourself, like fixing your insecurities, is a massive game changer. Because, bro, I'm not going to lie to you, right? Your mind plays a shit ton of tricks on you. Your mind knows that you're a loser already. So guess what? Your mind will give you reasons for you on why you're still a loser. But when you begin to work on yourself, right, what happens is, as you're winning in life, your brain begins to think of you as somebody who is already winning. And where it becomes more interesting is, that is how you actually level up in life. Bro, that is real self-improvement where you're fixing your insecurities. You are facing your fears. Because like I told you that this whole idea, I didn't really set up a goal to fix my social interaction. The goal was more of facing my fears. And gradually, I kind of came to realize that it was that idea of facing my fears, right, was what made me fix my social anxiety. So yeah, it's pretty that simple because the more you work on yourself, the more confident you become, the more good you feel about yourself. Again, you become more attractive. And I'll tell you as a man, attraction is good because it helps you talk to people easier, right? So I'm saying this because this idea of looks maxing is beginning to piss me off where guys that looks maxing ridiculous, but bro, yep, improve your looks, level up, improve your physique, go to the gym, right? By the way, why are guys not to the gym? Like, there's no excuse not to go to the gym because, bro, the gym will fix this social anxiety because, bro, you're always meeting with people, you're always talking to people, you're always seeing people. So it's a very good place to start from the gym. There are guys there, there are girls there. So, brother, it's pretty that simple, right? Start with the way you talk to yourself because if you keep talking to yourself in a bad way, there is no way you can fix your social anxiety because you might keep exposing yourself to people and situations. But bro, it's going to stay there. Do you want to be the age of 80, right? And you get to realize that the only way you can handle your anxiety is to keep exposing yourself. No. So that's the first step. Fixing your inner dialogue, fixing the way you see yourself. Then two, exposing yourself to other situations, to more situations and to more difficult situations. Start with approaching people or talking to people who are in your immediate circle or who are already in your immediate context. Whether it's at the gym, whether it's church, a community, start with that already. You will start with even talking to a fellow guy because it's crazy that even to talk to other guys, so I had that anxiety, right? The third thing here is start getting comfortable with having conversations, then proceed to being good in having good conversations, right? Your fourth tip is find ways to relax, right? That will definitely help you. For me, it was meditation. And the fourth tip is start leveling up, working on yourself, fixing your insecurities because that is where your inner confidence is actually going to come out from. My name is Son Oreye. My message is for guys is to become very well rounded. Now, there is no way I know you can become well rounded if you still have social anxiety in you. You can have all the money in the world, but if you have that anxiety, there is no way you can claim to be well rounded as a man. So my name is Son Oreye, like I said. If you like the idea of becoming a well rounded man, as you're fixing on social anxiety, so please share this video with somebody else who you know find it helpful. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. And then bye for now, brother.